This video is going to calculate our average cost per equivalent unit, and it's going to do so by starting with very simple examples and moving on down through the video. We'll get to more complex situation. If we have total manufacturing cost of $600,000 and we produce 10,000 units, then we can clearly see our average cost per unit would be $60. Now, instead of having one number for total cost, we could have been told that we had beginning work in process of $50,000 and we added manufacturing costs of $50,000, which again would give us total cost of $600,000. And if we had produced 10,000 units, again, we would have an average cost per unit of $60. Let's go ahead and break down our cost a little bit further. Instead of having one cost number, we're going to have beginning work in process of $50,000. We're going to add $150,000 in direct materials, $300,000 in direct labor, and $100,000 in manufacturing overhead, for a total manufacturing cost of $600,000. And again, if we produced 10,000 units, not surprisingly, our cost per equivalent unit is still what? $60 per unit. On page 2 of your handout, we're going to consider a situation where we have some fully completed units and some partially completed units. If we've got our assembly line and our goods move from the left to the right, any units that are still on our assembly line at the end of the period might be 10% complete down here. Somewhere in here they're around 30% complete. Then they get to 50% complete. And finally at the very end, once they move off into finished goods, they're what? 100% complete. So if we stopped at any particular point in time, we're going to see sub-assemblies or units all along this assembly line at various stages of completion. We're going to just look at our total units and sort of assume that they are on average 40% complete. So we would say we have 400 equivalent units of production in ending work in process. This is similar to the idea if we have 2 half beers, then that's equivalent to 1 full beer. So again, anything that was fully completed will be 100% complete. So we'll have 9,000 fully completed units that went out. We'll have 400 equivalent units in ending work in process. So our total equivalent units for the month or the period will be 9,400 equivalent units. Now when we calculate our average cost per unit, we'll take our total cost of $507,600, divide it by our 9,400 equivalent units, and we get a cost per equivalent unit of $54. Now, to calculate the total cost transferred out, we'll take our 9,000 units that we transferred out, multiply that by our $54 per unit, and we get a cost of the units transferred out of $486,000. Our ending work in process consists of 400 equivalent units at a cost of $54 for a total of $21,600. As a quick check, we'll add these two numbers together and we do get our total cost of $507,600 that we had above. Let's go through those calculations one more time. This time let's assume that we had 7,200 units that were transferred out. And again, anything that's transferred out is what? 100% complete. So 7,200 times 100% gives us 7,200 equivalent units. Our ending work in process consists of 1,000 units that are 80% complete for 800 equivalent units. Thus our total equivalent units of production then is 8,000 units. To calculate our average cost per unit, we'll take our total cost, $507,600, and divide it by our 8,000 units, and we get a cost per unit of $63.45. The cost transferred out then will be our 7,200 units times $63.45, or $456,840. Ending work in process will be 800 times $63.45, or $50,700.